My girlfriend decided it would be hilarious to slap a sign on my back at a family barbecue. The kind that read, "We'll work for food." I chuckled, pretended it didn't bother me, and just slipped away without saying much. The very next morning, she woke up to the sight of a moving truck parked out front. Truth is, the last 6 months of my life had felt like a slow-motion demolition followed by a rebuild. After 15 years working as a senior logistics manager, a job I loved with a salary that kept life comfortable, the company downsized. My number came up, and just like that, I was out. Instead of diving straight back into the corporate hamster wheel, I decided to take a gamble on myself. I used part of my severance to start my own logistics consulting business. I turned my spare bedroom into a home office, bought the gear I needed, and got to work. The hours were brutal, the work was demanding, and my income, at least for now, was a shadow of what I used to make. I knew it was going to be a grind, but I believed in the foundation I was building. Emily, my girlfriend of 4 years, didn't share that belief. She'd gotten used to the lifestyle my old paycheck provided, the nice restaurants, weekend getaways, and spending without a second thought. My leaner, more frugal startup life didn't exactly sparkle in her eyes. Before long, her support turned into something else entirely. A quiet, simmering resentment that leaked out in snide little jokes and passive-aggressive digs. She started calling my business "your little project," and asking, at least once a week, if I planned on getting a real job anytime soon. I tried brushing it off. I told myself she was just stressed, maybe struggling with the uncertainty. So I kept my head down, put in 16-hour days, and poured every ounce of energy I had into making this thing work. I figured that once I showed her it was paying off, she'd finally understand. This year, my family's annual barbecue, a tradition for as long as I can remember, was hosted at my place. It's a big deal. My parents, my siblings, their spouses, a whole pack of nieces and nephews. I love hosting. There's something special about creating a space where everyone can come together. That morning, I was up early, tidying the yard, setting up tables, and getting the smoker ready for the brisket. Emily was acting off. She had this weird mix of sugary sweetness and barely contained excitement. Looking back, that should have been my red flag. By 2 o'clock, the party was in full swing. I was at the grill, flipping burgers and chatting with my dad, feeling relaxed for the first time in weeks. This was my happy place, surrounded by family, good food, and laughter. While I was focused on the grill, Emily snuck up behind me. I felt her stick something to my shirt. I assumed it was something silly, maybe a kiss the cook sign. I heard her friends giggling off to the side, but I just shook my head and kept cooking. For the next hour, I wandered around the party without a clue. I topped off drinks, played with my nieces and nephews, and mingled with family. I noticed a few strange looks and hushed whispers, but figured everyone was just catching up. The truth hit me like a punch to the gut. My 7-year-old nephew, Caleb, tugged on my shorts with this puzzled look on his face. "Uncle Mark," he asked, completely innocent. "What does unemployed mean?" I froze. My brother, standing nearby, ripped something off my back and shoved it into my hands. It was a big, ugly piece of cardboard, the kind you'd imagine a homeless guy holding. In thick black marker, it said, "We'll work for food. Unemployed and desperate. Please help. My girlfriend pays for everything." My S-Mark act dropped. This wasn't some harmless prank. It was a targeted, mean-spirited hit at my pride, my work ethic, and the one vulnerable spot in my life right now. And she'd done it in front of everyone I cared about. Before I could process it, my sister hurried over, holding her phone. Her face was pale. "Mark, you need to see this." On her screen was Emily's latest social media story, a picture of me at the grill, the sign taped to my back in plain view. Her caption read, "Putting the new hubby to work. Gotta earn his keep. LOL. Unemployed and loving it. Charity case. Charity case." I glanced across the yard. Emily was laughing with her friends, sipping her drink. She caught my eye and winked, like we were in on the same joke. In that split second, 4 years of relationship burned away. Every excuse I'd made for her, every ounce of love I thought I felt, turned to ice. But I didn't lose my cool. I didn't yell, throw things, or storm off, because that's exactly what she wanted. She wanted a scene, something she could point to as proof that I was unstable. I wasn't giving her that. I looked at my family, who were staring at me with concern, and forced a chuckle. "Wow," I said, shaking my head. "She's got a unique sense of humor. Bit dark for my taste. But hey, what can you do?" I clapped my brother on the shoulder. "Appreciate the heads up, man. Then I carried on like nothing had happened. For the next hour, I was the picture of the perfect host. Tossing a football with my nephews, chatting with my mom about her marcados, making sure everyone's drinks stayed topped off. Emily, on the other hand, looked almost annoyed that I wasn't reacting the way she'd hoped. Inside, though, the gears in my head were turning. I was already putting together a quiet, simple, and final plan. Around 6 o'clock, I told my sister I was feeling a headache coming on and needed to lie down for a bit. I told everyone to keep enjoying the food, the drinks, and the pool. Then I slipped inside, grabbed my wallet and keys, and walked straight out the side door. No goodbyes. No explanations. I didn't go far, just 20 minutes down the highway to a plain, quiet hotel. I checked in, shut the door behind me, and sat for a moment in that sterile silence. Then I made one phone call. It was to a moving company that specialized in short-notice jobs. I told the guy on the line exactly what I needed. A team to pack and remove one person's belongings from a 2-bedroom house. Start time, 8 a.m. sharp. Emily, meanwhile, probably figured I was sulking in the spare bedroom, nursing my wounded pride. She likely imagined we'd have a big fight, say our piece, and then drift back into our old routine, her snide comments, my quiet tolerance. She had no idea I wasn't even in the house. She had no clue the wheels were already in motion. She thought she'd humiliated me. She was about to get a first-hand lesson in what humiliation really felt like. When she woke up Marcaro, her life with me would be boxed up and rolling away in the back of a moving truck. Update 1. The next morning, I was parked a few houses down from my place at 7:45 a.m. sipping a gas station coffee. Right on schedule at exactly 8 o'clock, the moving truck rumbled up to the curb. I walked over, met the crew leader, a big guy named Derek, and unlocked the front door. The house was still quiet. Emily was asleep in the master bedroom, blissfully unaware. I handed Derek an itemized list I'd put together. It spelled out exactly what was hers. All women's clothing and shoes from the master bedroom closet. Every personal item from the bathroom vanity. The entire contents of the spare bedroom she'd turned into her office, and the boxes in the garage clearly labeled Emily. I wanted zero confusion and no chance of her accusing me of taking something that wasn't mine. The crew got to work like pros. Efficient, quiet, and deliberate. They started in her office. 20 minutes later, the sounds of movement, muffled voices, packing tape peeling from the roll, finally woke her up. I was standing in the living room when she came out. She was wearing one of my old t-shirts, her hair tangled, her face still puffy from sleep. She froze when she saw the movers carefully wrapping her computer monitor. The confusion on her face flipped to wide-eyed panic. "Mark, what is going on?" she demanded, her voice already climbing. "Who are these people? What's happening?" I took a slow sip of coffee. My expression didn't change. "They're movers, Emily. I hired them. You're moving out." "Moving out?" she shrieked. "What are you talking about? Are you insane? Is this about that stupid joke yesterday?" "It wasn't a joke," I said, my voice steady. "It was a public statement. You showed me exactly what you think of me, and I believe you. People don't humiliate the ones they love. Not for fun, not for attention. That's something you do to a stranger or someone you don't respect. So, this roommate is asking you to leave." I pulled out my phone and held up the screenshot of her social media post. The photo of me at the grill with that sign on my back. The smug caption, the laughing emoji reactions from her friends. "This isn't something you bounce back from, Emily." She started crying then, but it wasn't the cry of regret. It was the sharp, panicked wail of a kid watching their favorite toy get taken away. "You can't do this. Half this stuff is mine. We built this life together." I stepped closer, keeping my voice even. "No, you didn't build anything. You've been living here. I bought this house 2 years before I met you. Every stick of furniture in here was mine before you ever walked in the door. In 4 years, you haven't paid a single dollar toward the mortgage or the bills. You're welcome to take everything you personally bought with your own money. The movers have a list. They'll deliver your things anywhere you want within 50 miles. I start making phone calls." She stammered, her eyes darting around the room like she was looking for an argument to grab onto. "My car, the furniture, the television. My car, my furniture, my television." I cut in, calm as ever. "I stopped by the bank this morning. Your name's off our joint account. That credit card you've been using? Cancelled. Whatever financial setup you were laughing about yesterday. It's over." She dropped onto the arm of the couch, face buried in her hands, letting out this mix between a sob and a scream. I just stood there, feeling nothing. No anger, no pity, no satisfaction. Just a quiet certainty that this chapter was done. I'd given Emily every opportunity to show me the bare minimum of respect, and she repaid me by trying to turn me into a joke in front of the people I care about most. The movers didn't slow down for the drama playing out in the living room. They just kept packing, methodical and professional. 2 hours later, everything of hers was loaded onto the truck. During that time, Emily drifted out to the back patio, making one hushed, frantic phone call after another. First, she called the friends who'd laughed the loudest at her little stunt. Judging from her tone, none of them were offering up spare bedrooms. Eventually, she made the call I knew she'd been dreading. She rang her parents. By the time Derek, the crew leader, came back in with his clipboard, it was all settled. "We've got an address, sir. Northwood," he said. "Her parents' place." Of course. I walked over to where she was sitting on the front steps, head in her hands. "The truck's ready to go," I told her, setting down a small box with her toiletries and phone charger. "Pretty sure that's everything." She looked up, eyes bloodshot and puffy. "You're really going to do this? Throw away 4 years over one stupid prank?" "You threw it away, Emily. Not me," I said, keeping my voice even. "You just didn't realize it until now." I stood there and watched the truck pull away, carrying the last pieces of a life I no longer wanted. She stayed on the sidewalk, looking small and lost, waiting for her parents to make the 40-minute drive to come get her. When I shut my front door, the quiet that settled over the house felt like the first deep breath I'd taken in years. Final update. 3 months have passed since the barbecue, and the thing that struck me first was the silence. For years, my home had been filled with Emily's noise. Her music, the endless chatter on speakerphone, TV shows I never cared about. Now it was just the soft hum of the fridge and my own thoughts. That peace was strange at first, but it didn't take long for me to love it. The fallout was quick. My family called right away. My mom worried I'd overreacted, my dad quietly furious on my behalf. I sat them down and told them everything. Not just the barbecue, but the slow, constant erosion of respect over the past year. When I showed them her social media post, the one calling me a charity case, I saw something new in my mom's eyes. Cold, steady anger. They understood. They didn't see my decision as revenge. They saw it as self-preservation. Emily tried a little smear campaign after that. Vague posts about toxic men and crazy exes. It didn't work. Too many people, including my entire family, had seen the prank firsthand. The version of the story that made the rounds wasn't hers. It was about a woman who publicly humiliated her partner and acted shocked when he finally stood his ground. A week later, a certified letter from her lawyer showed up. She wanted half the value of my furniture, compensation for emotional distress, and for me to keep making payments on her car, the car that was in my name. My lawyer sent back a neat little package, a copy of the deed to my house, dated 2 years before I met her. Bank statements proving I bought the furniture with my own money. An itemized record of the nearly $10,000 she'd racked up on my credit card in the last year for non-essentials. A printed screenshot of her barbecue post. The letter closed by saying that if she wanted to pursue it, we'd be happy to see her in court, where we'd be filing a counterclaim for the money she owed me and for defamation. We never heard from her lawyer again. The biggest hit she took wasn't legal, though it was financial. Without my income, she couldn't afford her car payments. I gave her a choice. Refinance it in her own name or I'd sell it. No bank would touch her, so I sold the car, paid off the loan, and mailed her a check for the leftover balance, just under $1,000. From what I hear, she's still living with her parents. She got a Cuzmarker service job. Her influencer dreams are dead. The friends who'd laughed at her prank don't come around anymore. Not when there are no expensive dinners to tag on Instagram. Humiliation, it turns out, isn't nearly as funny when you're the one living it. But honestly, the most satisfying part of this whole thing has nothing to do with her. It's about me. That layoff, the one I thought was a disaster, turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. With no relationship drama draining me, I threw myself into my consulting business. 2 months ago, I landed my first major client, a regional shipping company needing a complete logistics overhaul. The contract was bigger than I'd dared hope. Last month, I signed another one. My little project is now a fully fledged, thriving business. I've hired my first employee. I'm still working just as hard, but now it's for me. The success is mine. The respect is mine. Last weekend, I hosted another barbecue. Smaller this time, just my parents, my siblings, and a few close friends. We laughed, ate, and enjoyed each other's company. Not one person made a joke at my expense. At one point, my dad came over, stood beside me at the grill, and just watched for a moment before clapping me on the shoulder. "You know, Mark," he said, "I haven't seen you this happy in years. Feels good to have you back." He was right. I'd been gone for a long time, slowly erased in a relationship I kept convincing myself was worth it. That prank, cruel as it was, didn't break me. It woke me up. Emily thought she was putting a sign on my back saying I was worthless. What she really did was hand me the biggest sign of all, the one that said it was time to walk away. And for that, strange as it sounds, I guess I should thank her.